Hello, hello, my friends. Another dedicated candle review for you today. I know there have already been two, but I figured, you know what, let's go ahead and wrap it up with a third one since all three of the fragrances that I reviewed today are part of a trio deal over at QVC. So I am going to be reviewing in this video Blackberry Maple Ice Cream by HOMEWORX. Earlier today, I did already upload reviews of Sweet Autumn Nectar and Mahogany Pumpkin. And like I just said, these three fragrances that I have reviewed today are all available in a trio set over on QVC. All three of these, by the way, were sent to me in PR by Slatkin & Co. A big thank you to them for doing that. You guys know if you've been with my channel any length of time, I'm going to keep it real and I'm going to give it to you straight. However, if you've watched the other two videos from earlier today, then you're going to kind of know maybe the trajectory where this one is going to go as well, because I did mention that I have been pretty surprised by the performance of these candles. So let's go ahead and talk about this one, because I think a lot of people probably might have been the most intrigued by this fragrance. I know that I was when I initially saw what fragrances were going to be part of this Orchard Treats trio. I was like, ooh, that sounds appealing, because again, you mentioned ice cream in there. People are going to think, oh, it's a gourmand. So let's go ahead and talk about this one. Like the other two candles that I reviewed earlier today, this is a 3-wick 14-ounce vessel. So it might look on the surface like one of their 4-wick 18-ounce vessels that HOMEWORX is typically known for, but this trio in particular happens to be three wicks. Now, I have been pretty vocal in my criticism of 3-wicks and how they have performed in my house in the past. So personally, you guys, I was a little bit disappointed that these were made available in 3-wicks. However, I have heard that there are some people who live in smaller homes or apartments that they tend to appreciate this 3-wick format. So I guess it's good. I guess that HOMEWORX is trying to just kind of meet the demands, I guess, of a variety of their customers. All right, let's go ahead and talk about this fragrance. This specific candle that I am reviewing has a pour date of May 5th, 2025. Fragrance notes listed on this candle are blackberry, vanilla ice cream, sweet maple syrup, and cinnamon. So sounds pretty basic there. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys, this fragrance in and of itself is kind of a basic blackberry fragrance. Does that mean it's bad? No. I actually really, really enjoy this fragrance. Personally, for me, the only thing that's kind of a for me right now is that I am a very seasonal burner and I am very much into fall burning mode. I tend to lean towards apple and pumpkin and spice and all of those fragrances during this time of year. So blackberry to me is more of a fragrance that I would have burned, say, late July going into August. Berry scents do tend to be more spring and summer in my mind, particularly I would say summer. However, I do really enjoy this fragrance. And this is one that I actually, once I am done filming this review, I am actually planning to go ahead and extinguish this candle and then go ahead and put it back into my closet. And I'll probably bring it out next summer and finish it up then. But the fragrance to me is very much a blackberry forward fragrance. It's a good, like, juicy blackberry. I will say that I don't get a whole lot of creaminess from like a vanilla ice cream note. I don't really detect that. Sweet maple syrup, maybe a tinge of that, but for those of you who are averse to maple fragrances, the maple note in here, what it does is it lends a little bit of sweetness to the blackberry note, but it doesn't dominate. This is still very much, I would say, like an 85% blackberry fragrance to my nose. And then you get a little tinge of some sweetness of maple, but again, it's not going to overshadow the blackberry note. Cinnamon in here, if the cinnamon note in here would be a very, very soft cinnamon. It's not a red hot cinnamon at all. Personally, you guys, if the cinnamon note wasn't even listed, I wouldn't even really say that I detect it. To me, this is just a very, very well done blackberry fragrance. I really enjoy it. Again, it's kind of sweet, but I don't get any kind of like lactonic note from an ice cream. I wouldn't necessarily think of this being an ice cream fragrance. Just if I were to walk into anybody's home and they're burning this fragrance, I would just say, oh, it smells really nice in here. It smells like blackberries. It kind of reminds me a little bit of, I've mentioned this before, but blackberry fragrances oftentimes remind me of going to Knott's Berry Farm in Southern California. They are owned by Cedar Fair. So I think, like, for those of you who are in Ohio, I think there's a amusement park called Cedar Point. But Knott's Berry Farm is actually very well known for the boysenberry, which I believe is a hybrid between a blackberry and a raspberry. I'm trying to remember correctly. And so a lot of their old buildings and stuff have kind of this fragrance. They kind of have like a blackberry fragrance, a boysenberry fragrance going on in a lot of their buildings. And so whenever I smell this fragrance, it kind of reminds me of going to Knott's Berry Farm. I don't know. I really enjoy it. Again, very well done blackberry fragrance, but is it super lactonic or creamy? No. So if you're hoping for that, you might be a little bit disappointed. Let's go ahead and talk about the performance of this candle. So I'm going to go ahead and lift it up. Wicks have been doing pretty well on this one. I haven't had any issues with them leaning or falling over like I did with the Sweet Autumn Nectar. Honestly, that was the only one out of the trio that I had some wick issues on. I do notice that these 3 wicks do take a little bit longer to pull out. That is the only thing that I might say as like register as a con on this candle, but they do achieve a full wax pull. And the burn has been pretty good for me. It's not sooty. I have been trimming the wicks just a little bit at the end of each burn just to make sure that they don't fall over. But again, these wicks are burning pretty hot. The wicks do get a little bit long. They don't accrue a lot of carbon residue, which is good. But yeah, you just might want to be aware of that. Strength and throw on this one is pretty much right there where the other 2 have been. I'm going to give this one about a 7 in terms of strength and throw. It's performing pretty decently, which has been a surprise for me because in the past, I have not had a lot of luck with these 3-wick candles. They typically get relegated to the closed concept areas of my home. But all 3 of these 3 wicks in this Orchard Treats collection have performed very well in my open concept. This, again, like I said, would be about a 7. Maybe even if you pop it into a hurricane, it could be up to an 8, 8.5 in terms of strength and throw. This one has been doing quite well for me. I've been pretty impressed with this trio. So yeah, if you are eyeing it and if you have a home that maybe is similar size as mine, or if you have a closed concept style home, I think that you're going to be pretty pleased with the performance of this trio of candles. I will say, you know, it's funny, when I initially got the trio in, I thought that this one was my favorite. I am going to say that the Sweet Autumn Nectar was probably my least favorite of the trio. This one I would have enjoyed more so at the end of summer, but the Mahogany Pumpkin was really, really good. So if you are eyeing this trio over on QVC, I know at the time that I'm filming this video, I think it's on sale for $54.95 for a trio. I do know that these 3-wick candles, when they are on the Slatkin & Co. website, they typically retail for $25 each. The 4 wicks retail for $30. You've got a 4 ounces of wax difference between the 3-wick and the 4-wick, plus you get the additional wick. But I would say that the $54.95 price point for 3 of these is decent. I mean, maybe it'll drop a little bit more. I think when it was on the big deal special, it was less than that. But overall, if you're eyeing these and you think that these are fragrances that you would like, I would say go ahead and they get the thumbs up from me. Performance has been pretty good, and the fragrances are pretty nice. For my preferences, the one that I would burn this time of year would be the Mahogany Pumpkin. The other 2 I would probably set aside for another time of year. So anyways, let me know in the comment box down below if you purchased this trio when it was available as part of the big deal. I do also believe that these fragrances are available in the hand soap format as well. I think last I checked, those were available in a trio for $29.98, I believe. So pretty decent price point on those as well. You guys know I love the Slatkin & Co. hand soaps. In fact, I actually just ordered more of them from QVC. I think I ordered a hot cider donut duo to accompany my spiced vanilla pumpkin one that was recently sent to me, because I'm really, really enjoying their hand soaps. So yeah, you guys, I'm starting to ramble, which means that it is time for me to go, but please hit thumbs up if you found this review or the other reviews helpful today. Consider subscribing to my channel if you are new around here. I do lots of dedicated post burns like this. I do hauls, empties, and a lot of other fun candle content in between. So if you like my content, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. I do want to say thank you so very, very much for spending your time here with me today. And until my next one, I hope you all go out and have a very blessed day. Bye.